Welcome to Build and Waffle, where I build your ideas and probably waffle on about something else. Today we're making a koi pond, and I'm really excited about it. I kind of got home from work and just decided this is what we're gonna do, and I'm really happy about it. Some of you might know I lived in Japan for a little bit, and I thought these were the most peaceful, relaxing things ever, and I thought it'd be a good thing to have in Build and Waffle. So, right now what you see me doing is messing with the water. Water, Minecraft physics in my brain just don't agree and see eye to eye, so it takes a lot of trial and error to be able to figure out how to be able to make it line up and do exactly what I want it to be able to do. But I'm excited. We're putting in a few different little tiers and little embankments for this and stuff like that. And it's going to be a couple of tiers of it. And I really like the way this one turned out. So I just started to go. I thought the right way to be able to do it was having to be unique shapes. I didn't want it to just be a circle. Like, I wanted it to be a little more variety. It's man-made, but natural, if that makes sense. I wanted it to be natural shapes and organic, but still be clearly man-made. So there's different stones and stuff like that. But you're not going to see that in the natural world. That's very clearly placed by man in nature. So I made this first little embankment, and the idea is this waterfall's coming down, has a lot of speed, and we need to slow it down before it gets to the koi fish because, well, it's not going to be a serene pond if it has whitewater rafting as a feature. So we're making another embankment here. I was thinking about putting in a little river, short little river before the next embankment, but I decided no, I want another embankment right here as a little small one. And I really love what I did with this one. I thought it was really, really cool. So we are adding a little bit of dirt right here, and we're just lowering the water level on one side. So when we remove it, it has a side embankment. It goes down on like a side waterfall. And yeah, the daylight was still on, and so yeah, mistakes happen. And that's fine. So we had that embankment go down, goes into another little embankment. So we have one, two, three already, and the water would be slowed down greatly. We're able to have a large embankment, which would cut all the water basically right away. So that way, when it got to the bottom, it'd be fine. Thought about putting a river going in line, but I decided it had to be diagonal to fit with the nature of it, which means later on a bridge we put in has to be diagonal instead of straight on, which wasn't the goal I had, but I think it's fine, and it's something that I decided was a needed sacrifice for it to be able to work with the terrain, because the terrain kind of decides how some of these are going to work. That final embankment is a little small, I think, but I do like how it turns out overall anyways, and I think if you're happy with the build at the end of it, it doesn't matter if you went mega or made a micro build. If you're happy with it, you're happy with it, and that's fine. So filled up all the water and everything like that. That way the fishies are able to move around just fine, and every single block is a source block, and it works just fine. And we're doing a little bit of terraforming, making it look absolutely amazing. The stone really shows that it's man-made, but I wanted the nature to encase it a little bit. So I brought the grass in and stuff like that, and I thought it helped a ton. So now we're putting in that little diagonal bridge I was talking about earlier. I think it looks pretty good. We're adding in just a little bit of acacia. I really feel like acacia works with these kind of things. It's one of the few times that I think the orange wood is S tier. And also one of the things I really, really like is a lantern. So when this is normally going in the day, you're gonna see the movement of the fish. Naturally, what happens? Your eyes are attracted to movement. But at night, when you can't see as much, those lanterns are going to stick out big time. So I think that's a really cool thing you can do with your builds. So during the day, your eyes go one place, but at night, they go another. And lighting's able to help with that like crazy. I think it's just super duper cool. We're going to get started here at the bottom, adding in some vegetation. So I decided to use the little warped trap doors and this coral fan specifically. And I think it kind of looks like it's little bunches of like petal blossoms for a cherry blossom tree. And I think it looks really, really good. And I tried to figure out how to put sugarcane in water. Fun fact, you can't. Thought you could, you can't. But I put in the lily pads and the drip leaves, which worked really, really well to add variety with the lily pads. Now we're traveling our way on up, and we're going to add a little bit of vegetation on the way down it as well, because I mean they're coming from somewhere. So I thought having a little bit every once in a while would look good. And we're also changing up the stone structure as well, adding in some stairs, slabs, and walls, and the mossy cobble wall I think looks pretty good. I think it kind of shows the algae from water being in this situation. I think it looks good. And being able to add in the variation in height and stuff like that in the slabs, it'll make it a little bit more gradual, but also a lot more interesting because you change up the heights and it just looks better. It just looks better. I'm really happy about it. I think it looks pretty good. And we're adding in more vegetation up there, more of the cherry blossoms, lily pads, little things like that that might be floating down the river. Because that little embankment right there that we have, you can see the stone going across before the water comes down. Wanted to cover that up with some lily pads, and now we're going down to the second, the final embankment, and we're adding a lot more detail here. A couple little stairs in there, so it's like some stones in there for the fish to be able to swim around, and more lily pads, and adding in the fish finally. And notice that they're moving. We're going to talk about this later. Just notice they're moving, okay? They are moving. They are a thing. Because later on I'm going to point it out because they just stop, and I have no idea why. We're adding a little bit of sugarcane. We're adding in some moss, some bamboo. You're going to see me here in a second place a bamboo like 100 times. And it's just because I wanted it to be really bunched together, but you can't really change where bamboo is placed on a block. But I was really hoping that it would, so it didn't. So we moved it over a little bit, added in some leaves. It looks really, really good. And I wanted to add in a little sand garden because these things are like the little zen little sand garden things. They're super cool and awesome, and I love them. And I thought it fit really, really well with this whole zen design thing we have going on in this little koi pond. So I thought it looked really, really good. And I think it adds a little bit of variation on that sign, adds a little feature that doesn't distract. It's not a big tree that distracts from the koi pond. It's not a house that distracts from the koi pond. It's just a small detail that exists. And we go off to the side. I wanted to have it, the build stop, but incorporating the environment. So I decided that with a stone little bridge. Looks somewhat natural, but very clearly placed by man. And I have it supported underneath from the cobblestone walls. I think it looks really, really good. So that's kind of like our anchor point and stop over there. And we have our little path blocks. We're going to texture it up a little bit with some coarse dirt and a little bit of spruce logs. And I think it looks really, really good. And we go off to the other side as well and add in some walls as well over there, and our lanterns for a little light path. And notice how it's perpendicular to the water, be able to form a little X, so if you fly over, it's also interesting as well. I try to cover as many angles as possible for a build like this to be interesting, so it actually catches your eye and is worth your time. And I was looking through, I look at a bunch of thumbnails when I do these and stuff like that, and I just, yeah, Japanese fence gate does look pretty good. It was in a few other people's pictures and thumbnails and stuff like that. And just look at it with the shaders and the light poking through. It looks so good. It just looks so good. So if you remember at the beginning of this, I was talking about that waterfall. I decided I didn't like it. And this is the part of the building process I feel like we don't really talk about as much. The first time you make something, it might not be what you stick with, and it might not be what you like. We were able to build all this because of it, and I wanted to make sure that was held true, so I wanted to work with where the water was. Say that 5 times fast. So I added this little stone feature because most modern koi ponds are, well, it's not coming from a spring or a river or an underwater water source. It's a motor running the water through on a circuit. So I decided to go that route. It would be a little stone path that has a little slot in there. We're going to put some stone on top. We've re-terraformed up there, so it looks a little bit more natural. I think I did a really good job. I was kind of surprised after that it turned out as well as it did. It's not really my strong suit to fix where I was building. But we put that little slot in so it looks like it's a more modern, electrical, motorized koi pond. And it just looks so good. All the lights are shining, all the vegetation, and look, all the fish, they're just standing still. Like, what happened? Like, move, fishies, move. That's like, you're supposed to provide movement. But it looks so, so good, and I'm super duper happy with it. I hope you guys are enjoying the little time lapse rolling through the day cycle. I think it looks super, super good. But if you guys have any other ideas or anything like that, please leave them in the comments. I would love to be able to do your guys' ideas as well as my own. I think it would be really, really fun, really awesome. And if you have any YouTubers that you want to join in on this, or you're a YouTuber yourself and you want to join in, let me know. We can collaborate and be a ton of fun. You can hit me up down in the comments below or join my Discord and talk to me there. The Discord's in every single description on these videos. Thank you guys so, so much. I really do appreciate it, and it was a ton of fun to be able to do this. Please like and comment as well. It goes a long way. It makes a huge difference. Even though it only takes a second for you, it can make the difference for a channel as small as mine, and I really do appreciate it. So until the next time, hope you guys are doing well. I'll talk to you soon.